Section 1. Social Enterprises. Today, I'll be answering the question, what is a social enterprise? Social enterprise is a type of business that aims to make a positive difference in society. It works like a normal business by selling goods and or services, but its main goal is not just to make a profit. It's to create social or environmental change. The profits made are immediately used to support a community mission or cause. This makes social enterprises different from traditional businesses. A regular business focuses mainly on profit for its owners or shareholders to keep, while a social enterprise uses profit as an opportunity to help others. Their main measure of success is the size of the hopefully positive impact they make, not just how much money they earn. Social enterprises can look very different depending on what they do. Some give training or jobs to people who find it hard to get in work. Others help protect the environment or support people in need around the world. What they all share is the goal of using businesses to solve real problems in society. A well-known Australian example is Thank You. This company sells items like water, body care, and cleaning products, but instead of keeping the profits, they use them to help end global poverty. Another great example is Street, a Melbourne-based social enterprise that supports young people who have been homeless or disadvantaged by giving them training and jobs in the hospitality industry. These organizations compete in the market just like any regular company. Their main goal is to make a difference, not just a profit. It's also important to remember social enterprises still want to be financially strong. They don't only rely on donations. They earn money through their regular business operations so they can continue helping people and making change over time. This makes them more stable and independent than charities that rely only on fundraising. In summary, a social enterprise is a business built around strong social values. It shows that a business can be a strong tool to help create positive change. By combining good values with smart business operations, social enterprises remind us that making money and doing good can work together to build stronger and better communities. Next, I will talk about what makes Chocolate on Purpose a social enterprise. Chocolate on Purpose is much more than just a standard chocolate brand. It is 100% Aboriginal owned and operated by Fiona Harrison, a Wurundjeri woman. The business was created to support her people, culture, and the whole planet, not just to make some money. One big reason that makes Chocolate on Purpose a social enterprise is its mission. The company uses chocolate to share Indigenous culture and knowledge through some storytelling. By fusing Belgian chocolate with Australian elements, the company helps teach people about the healing power and traditional usage of bush food in the Indigenous communities. Another reason is its strong commitment to social change. Chocolate on Purpose aims to increase the participation of Indigenous farmers in the supply chain. Every time they can make more chocolate bars, they buy more ingredients directly from Indigenous producers, helping them grow their businesses. There are very few Indigenous-owned companies in Australia's food goods industry, so this support is very important for equality and large representation. Chocolate on Purpose is also focused on ethical and responsible operations. It gets its cacao from programs that fight against child labor, empower women, and help farmers earn fair wages. The brand only uses chocolate that is grown with zero palm oil, which helps protect rainforests and endangered animals like orangutans. Their business model embeds impact in every part of their operations, from sourcing to sales. The profits are reallocated to support Indigenous communities, spread cultural understanding, and encourage positive change. Chocolate on Purpose works closely alongside First Nations groups and uses every product to teach people about Australia's history, culture, and support in reconciliation. In summary, what makes Chocolate on Purpose a social enterprise is its clear focus on using their business for the greater good. The company is driven by its mission to create fair opportunities for Indigenous people, protect nature, and build respect for Aboriginal culture. Through ethical sourcing, telling some stories, and reinvesting in local communities, Chocolate on Purpose shows just how one business can make such a huge difference.
Hi, I'm Rashan. In this section, I will show how indigenous perspective shapes business practice and then how chocolate on purpose bring those principles to life in a real social enterprise. Why does this matter for business? Because indigenous perspective center relationship with country, kinship, and community and reframe success beyond profit to include cultural continuity, social well-being, and stewardship. This lenses consists with the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People and contemporary government expectations. Indigenous approaches start with country, kinship, and community at the center. Value is relational how decisions affect people, place, and culture, not just a financial return to owners. Second, stewardship and integrational duty choices are waiting for impact on land, waters, and ecosystems over long term. That long view guides procurement, resources use, and growth. Third, reciprocity and shared benefit, supply chain and relationship with mutual obligations, fair pricing, respectful partnership, and dignity at work. So benefits circulate rather than being attracted. Fourth, cultural integrity and ingenious cultural and intellectual property. When cultural knowledge or stories create value, there must be consent and right authority to speak and benefit sharing with the people and country that knowledge comes from. Fifth, self determination and governance. Indigenous ownership and decision making keep organizations accountable to community values and ensure purpose drives strategy. Finally, holistic well being success is measured in cultural continuity, social connection, and care of country as well as revenue. In short, indigenous perspectives reorient business from a model of profit only to one of the relationship, stewardship, and shared flourishing. Here's how Chocolate on Purpose operationalized those ideas. Indigenous ownership and country, it's 100% indigenous owned and grounded in Dowry country. That grounding shapes who has authority to tell stories and how the brand shows up. Product as cultural education, Bushfoot chocolate pairs couverture with Australian native botanicals. Its products act as a storytelling vehicle, bringing country and culture into everyday customer choices. Purpose driven leadership founder Fiona Harrison described a journey from trauma and healing and purpose, with indigenous wisdom guiding decisions, why dignity, education, and community outcomes matter as much as margin. Reciprocal supply chain, the company foregrounds ethical sourcing and fair trade, making women farmers in cocoa supply chain visible, reciprocity and shared benefit in action, community benefits and visibility through packaging and website and talks. The brand amplifies indigenous knowledge and represents in mainstream markets, building understanding and cultural confidence. Governance safeguards practices align with ICIP, consent and cultural authority to stories and native ingredients, and with human rights due diligence in sourcing, governance here in practical policies that protect culture, people, and brand. Together, this is not chocolate plus a story, it's a coherent system where ownership, product design, sourcing, and communication all align in country, culture, and community.
Hi, welcome to Section 3. My name is Zane, and I'll be going through how businesses can integrate the UN Sustainable Development Goals, also known as SDGs, into their business objectives, and looking at which of these SDGs Chocolate on Purpose addresses. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, are a set of 17 interconnected goals adopted by every UN member state in 2015 to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure prosperity for all by 2030. While they're designed for governments, the reality is that businesses can play a critical role in achieving them. Companies influence how we consume, what we produce, and how resources are used, so they can make enormous progress towards these global aims. For-profit organizations can integrate SDGs by identifying which goals link most closely to their mission and daily operations. For instance, A retailer might focus on responsible consumption, while a manufacturer could address clean energy and climate action. The key is to weave the SDGs into business strategy, not treat them as an afterthought or a marketing slogan. They mean setting measurable targets, adopting supply chains, working with ethical partners, and reporting transparently on outcomes. Doing so builds long-term resilience, encourages innovation, and strengthens stakeholder trust. Today's consumers and investors don't just ask what a company sells, they ask what impact it creates. Chocolate on Purpose is a powerful example of how a small business can align profit with purpose. Founded by Wiradjuri woman Fiona Harrison, it is Australia's first Indigenous-owned chocolate company, based in Wiradjuri and Gundungurra country in regional New South Wales. The company combines premium Kovicha chocolate with Australian native botanicals, ingredients such as whittleseed, Davidson plum, and lemon myrtle, while sharing the cultural stories connected to these planets. Their mission is summed up in three words: people, planet, and equity. People, supporting Indigenous communities and fair trade farmers. Planet, by minimizing waste and protecting ecosystems. And equity, by creating opportunities for Indigenous women and valuing traditional knowledge. What makes them remarkable is that every block of chocolate becomes a medium for cultural storytelling and education, connecting consumers not only with flavor, but with country and culture. Now we're going to look into how Chocolate on Purpose addresses these SDGs within their company. Chocolate on Purpose closely aligns with at least 5 SDGs. Under SDG 8, Decent Work and Economic Growth, the company creates meaningful jobs for Indigenous Australians, especially elder Indigenous women, while additionally supporting ethical cacao farming through the Cacao Horizons program, which helps farmers move out of poverty and eliminates child labour. For SDG 10, Reduced Inequalities, the business directly challenges the lack of Indigenous participation in the native foods industry. Fiona Harrison reinvested profits into training and increasing Indigenous suppliers, ensuring communities benefit from the growing native botanical market. SDG 12, Responsible Consumption and Production, is embedded into all the operations. Their chocolates are palm oil free to prevent deforestation, packaging is recyclable, and production of cuts are repurposed as Chocolatious sprinkles to reduce waste. On SDG 13, Climate Action, the company purchases Aboriginal carbon credits that fund Indigenous land management and controlled savanna burning products. These are initiatives that are proven to cut carbon emissions or strengthen connection to country. Finally, SDG 17, Partnerships for the Goals, is reflected in their collaboration with ethical suppliers, community organizations, and local councils, showing that partnerships multiply impact far beyond what one small business can achieve alone. Why does it matter? What Chocolate on Purpose shows us is that pursuing the SDGs isn't just for large corporations or charities. It's for any business that wants to be part of a sustainable future. By embedding SDGs into its daily operations, the company merges profit with purpose. It keeps cultural heritage alive through storytelling, protects the environment through responsible production, and demonstrates economic inclusion through Indigenous empowerment. It's also rewriting the narrative of what a business can be, not just a generator of revenue, but a platform for reconciliation, education, and environmental stewardship. This model proves that sustainability can be a competitive advantage. Consumers today are drawn to authenticity and transparency, and Chocolate on Purpose gives them both: a delicious product backed by clear social and environmental values. Ultimately, this reminds us that achieving the SDGs will require creativity and courage, qualities that even small enterprises can embody to make the global change tangible at the local level. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rashan. In this section, we reflect on how the course 12 models and 3 assessments reshaped our view of business, from profit only to stakeholder responsibility and ethical governance. We will highlight the moments that changed us most: social enterprise, indigenous perspectives, and SDGs, and what we will carry onto future practices and teamwork. Now we see the firms as a stakeholder citizen. Even decision lands on workers, communities, and environment, not just shareholders. So the question becomes who benefits and who bears the cost. The sustainability lens helps us to test claim with evidence, not slogans. Look for externalities, baselines, and measurable progress, and call out greenwashing when reporting doesn't match action. Business and human rights turn values into practice where the UDHR and the UN guiding principles do due diligence on prevent harm, provide redeem when harm occurs, and use leverage in the supply chains to shift standards. Diversity and inclusion push me beyond headcounts without tackling bias and everyday culture. Outcomes don't change. The week on social enterprise and indigenous perspective showed that purpose on revenue can reinforce each other than governance respects country. Our chocolate on purpose case made that real by embedding storytelling, ethical sourcing, and community benefits into the operational model. Finally, the assessment journey built a practice for the assessment one, sharpen and two, sharpen evidence and structure. And assessment three taught us to translate research into clear visual and voice to camera storytelling. My takeaway is simple: good business creates value for stakeholders without shifting costs to people or planet. If a decision fails that test, and it needs to redesign, and that is the filter I will carry into the future roles.
When this project first began, I didn't actually know any people I was grouped up with. At first, I felt a bit uncertain. You never know how everyone will work together. But surprisingly, from our very first meeting, everything just clicked. We communicated really effectively online through group chats and shared documents, which made collaboration feel organized and stress-free. Everyone was willing to contribute ideas, and we naturally delegated tasks based on our strengths without any fuss or conflict. What stood out to me was how quickly trust was formed. Everyone met their deadlines and supported one another if someone needed help. It felt like a professional environment, not just a unique group project. This experience taught me that successful teamwork doesn't depend on already knowing your teammates. It depends on communication, respect, and shared goals. It showed me that with the right attitude, even strangers can become efficient and supportive team. This course also really changed the way I think about business and society. Before taking it, I saw business mainly as a way to make profit and achieve growth. But through the 12 modules and now assignments, I've learned that businesses influence far more than the economy. They shape communities, values, and the environment. Learning about social enterprises like Chocolate on Purpose showed me that companies can combine purpose with profit. They can still be successful financially while creating genuine social and environmental impact. This challenged my older view that doing good and doing business were separate things. Now I see them as connected, and I want to carry that mindset forward. Whether I work in logistics or project management, I want to prioritize ethical decisions, sustainability, and inclusion as part of how I define success. Overall, this course has inspired me to see business not just as a career path, but as a platform for positive change.